Just to give you an idea, when I say large number of academic and industry partners, you might recognise some of these. Bargaining and managing them both, no surprises there because they're a big player and we've worked with them before on a lot of other projects. But we've also got some industry players here. For example, in the plastics project, we've got people working on biodegradable plastics. We've got Spotteron, who are an app developer. And I think equally within the SPRINT project, there are stakeholders from outside academia. So that's great. It's healthy and it means that the outputs are a lot more relevant. We have common challenges as well. As I said, multiple plastic use and plastic types in use in agriculture. It's only when you get your eye in and you're working on a project like this that you see it everywhere in farming. There's the obvious things like greenhouses, plastic mulch, silage bales. There's also irrigation pipes, and there's what we call the unintentional use of plastic in compost, for example. If you look at the second picture down on the right, those small particles you can see in compost are plastic fragments. And Honor and I were introduced to what was called some good quality compost last week in Italy, and it was absolutely terrifying to see these large chunks of plastic in this compost that was going on year after year onto the soil. So presence of particles in soil. We know there are wide-ranging impacts on soil health, biodiversity, ecosystem services, but understanding all those complex interactions is still something the scientists need to address. No standard methods yet for assessing these concentrations. Again, Honor and I sat in a room for a week last week in Italy with scientists arguing day in, day out about the methodology, so there's a long way to go there. But this has consequences in terms of making sense of your samples and your results, and also bringing some standardisation to the industry, which is exactly what policymakers are looking for. And then within SPRINT and pesticides, as we know, conventional farmers rely very much on pesticide use, many potentially harmful to the environment, animals, human health, and we've known that for some time, the residual effect. What we're less sure about is the data on the risks of pesticides when they become the cocktail effect, if you like, when they interact, even when they interact with plastic, which is one of the issues in our project. And the data's out there, but it's fragmented, it's incomplete. We don't have a coherent picture. So approaches to assessing the risks are not well harmonised again. We need that standardisation because we can't engage with policy or industry without that. And again, for both projects, we know that there are socioeconomic consequences for these farmers. We don't only want to talk about the problems and the issues, we want to talk about what the alternatives are for them and how we can support them in a transition away from this lock-in in pesticide and plastic use.